Hi there. Welcome again to my YouTube channel. My name is Lunta Di La Paulo. I tend to do a little bit of videos and educational content around mainly business, economics. Sometime I talk a little bit about politics and other social issues. I am really big into Africa, African prosperity, African development. If there is something that I'm excited to talk about all day, all night, all the time, is Africa. And I love connecting with other entrepreneurs, especially from Africa. But today, it's really good and really important to connect from people from all over the world because those connections help us expand our horizons, learn new ways of going through life, building and developing meaningful relationships that make the world a better place. And today, I actually want to talk about one of the most interesting subject because a lot of people actually across the motherland, Africa, would appreciate to learn a little bit more. Um, and my desire to do this recording really comes from the fact that I've been meaning to do this recording a little while ago, and I keep forgetting until recently I received a piece of information that brought to my heart again the desire to do this recording. And tonight after work, I was like, I'm gonna do it. And here am I. I'm going to do it now. All right. So I want to talk about what African entrepreneurs or small business owners need to know and need to do to raise money appropriately from investors, both inside African markets or outside of the African continent. Okay, so in case you're wondering what qualifies me from doing this, my job is to raise money for other businesses here in the US. That's it, all right? Among other things that I do. But I want to give some advice because in the past I received a lot of business plans, a lot of pitch deck from people in the continent trying to pitch to me, and I found very similar mistakes that they often make. And the most recent pitch deck, I'm not even gonna put it on the screen because I want to protect your confidentiality. But I hope this video is gonna give you some pieces of information for you to, build a better case for your business and hopefully be able to raise some money. Okay, so let's start with some of the basic things. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen here and just walk us through the basic things. When you go raise capital, right, raise fund, so if you are an entrepreneur or a business owner wants to grow or launch a product, a service, whatever you want to do, you need capital, right? You need money to launch this product. And this money usually can come in form of debt or in form of equity. And equity can come from yourself, right? Or from investors, other people, right? Usually, investors for smaller entrepreneurs would be in forms of friends, family, sometimes foes, right? And in the US, we call some people call them fools. People who believe in you prematurely without necessarily uh, having any experience previously with you. But the point is, when people from the continent, or at least those who have engaged me in the past, come to me, here's what they do. They come and they say, hey, I'd like to share with you about my business. Let me just give you a random example to protect people's confidentiality. I'm trying to launch an education platform, right? Let's say a ed tech platform, right? And I'm looking for platform. I'm looking for investors, right? And then I'm really nice and I tell them, hey, I'd like to learn more. What's up? So here's what they do. They will send me their confidential memorandum or pitch deck. Okay. I'm gonna abbreviate here. But, right, they are sharing their proprietary information without requiring people to keep it confidential. In the US, the way we keep information confidential is by requiring that people sign an NDA. NDA means non disclosure agreement. Okay? So that's step one. If you want to raise money, you need to have a way to ensure your information is kept confidential, right? But here's the thing though. If you're going through VC, venture capital, most venture capital are not going to sign NDAs because that's just what they do. They don't like signing NDAs. However, at a later stage, they are more than happy to sign NDA once they start before they start their due diligence process, right? So VCs usually don't want to sign NDAs, right? So keep that in mind. Now, if you're going to send someone your pitch deck, right, to share or your business plan, oftentimes I receive actually business plan than a deck, right? Here's what I've seen people doing: putting a business plan or a deck with 50 plus pages. No, nobody have time to do that. No one. Okay. Your initial intent should be and must be to capture people's attention. Attention is a big commodity. People are very busy today, especially investors, right? You don't want to send them 50 pages. What I recommend you doing is to send a short version or send an executive summary, okay, or a teaser, okay, which is similar to an executive summary, or send a highly condensed version version of your deck. Okay, and I'm gonna talk about what these things include. I don't want to make this video very long, but you really have to bear with me because there is so much good information that I want to share with you, and I want you to be successful with your fundraising. Okay, so your executive summary, right? These two documents are usually going to be 1 to 2 pages, right? And their goal is to capture attention. So, what do you need to include? In a nutshell, you need to include the problem you're trying to solve and the potential solution, right, that addresses this problem. And you want to show that there is a market that is big enough that makes this problem worth pursuing, worth solving. I'll give you an example. If your product or service only serves 100 people in the world, and these 100 people aren't billionaires, okay, that's funny. But there is a very high chance that this product or service is meaningless from the perspective of the business reality. Because think about it. If your product is to be sold for $5 and there is only 100 people who would need it per year, you only have $500, right? Unless there is enough repeat business, every day people spend $5 in your product. Maybe if there is only 100 people and it's easy to reach them, It may make sense, but I hardly believe that. But the point that I'm trying to drive home here, okay, is the fact that when you are launching a business or trying to raise capital to grow your business, you really need to go through these steps, right? So I talked about number one, problem, right? Number two, the solution you're trying to address or the solution you're trying to bring that solves the problem. Number three, the market that is big enough. Number four, I would say you need to show that you have some form of go to market plan. And number five, what makes you unique or qualified to actually do what you're telling us you will do if we give you money. And of course, your background and bio, right? And of your team needs to be included and show that there is some form of relationship between you, right? There is like this triangle here, there is you here, there is the problem you're trying to solve, and how all the, let's say, capital, right, whether it's human, whether it's financial, will be interacting to create, this offering or to solve the problem, really, right? So your executive summary, it's really doing that, right? It's really showing, okay, there is a problem and this problem matters, and here's what I think I can do to solve this problem, and this is how I'm gonna go about doing it. And here's my background and the background of my team, and everything we've done prior to this moment leads us to the place we are today, and we are ready to take on this challenge, and we're gonna succeed, right? So there is certain element of, I don't want to say arrogance, but there is certain element of conviction that you are capable of reaching the goals you're proposing, right? So that's what you need to do. You need to share a teaser. You don't need to send me 50 pages document. I'll tell you the truth. I'm not gonna read it I'll probably skim through it really quick to see if anything stands out. And usually, here's another actual situation. Usually what actually stands out in many of the decks and business plan that I receive is the things that are factually incorrect, or grammatical errors, or mistakes in their writing and things like that. And those are things that work against you, because here's really what a lot of people are thinking: why should I give this person money if they can't even get a document reviewed correctly, right? I've made those kind of mistakes. I have posted stuff, whether because of my lack of English capability. Today I speak fluently English, but I still have a lot of work to do in my writing. So, oftentimes it's important that you, as an entrepreneur or business owner, bring people in your team. Wow, this video is getting long. So just bear with me here a little bit more. You need to bring people who are capable of complementing your weaknesses, right? And if writing is not your strength, you need to find people who can write really well, right? Really well, who are gonna put these 2 pages and are going to, put it so compelling, so incredibly amazing that it's gonna, catch someone's attention to ask for more information, right? So the bottom line of a teaser or an executive summary or that condensed version of your deck is to get attention so that people can ask for more information, should and must lead to give me more info, right? And this usually can be in form of a meeting, right? A first introductory meeting, or it can be in form. This meeting can be, today we do a lot of video call or a phone call, right? And sometimes it can just be in form of detailed sim, right? Sim or deck, right? Or deck. And I want to stress this again. Please don't send 50 plus pages. This is not the time. This is not the time for this. Your deck should be ideally up to 20 to 25 pages, right? And anything, and the reason I say this is because this helps you being really laser focused. And if you have, for example, research that you've done, anything that you think the investor should know, for example, if you are trying to raise money in the US and you are in Nigeria, for example, right? And if your target investor group are not familiar with investor, you can put together maybe 2 pages or 2 slides of background in Nigeria, right? Demographics, economy, the industry where you operate in Nigeria. What does that look like? You're educating the investor about the opportunity and the market, right? So with that being said, right, 20 to 25 pages and maybe a handful more pages, included in the appendix, right? So after you do this, then you are really getting your message across, right? So I'm saying, all these things should be done before you start reaching out to people across the world to tell them about your wonderful business or startup idea, right? You have to have this executive summary. You have to have this short form deck, right? And you have to have this detailed deck, a little bit more detailed, right? So again, this is 1 to 2 pages. This is maybe up to, I would say, 5 to 7 pages, right? And this longer deck, I prefer 20 to 25 pages, right? So we are almost 20 minutes. I don't know if I should stop here. It's not my intention to try to make this long, but I'm really hoping that you're learning something here, right? And when, one of the obvious question is, okay, if you have all these in place, you have reviewed your marketing material, you proofread it, it's grammatically correct, no typos, beautiful art, beautiful pictures, you just created something super good, outstanding. Okay, what's next, right? How do you find your investors? Today, LinkedIn is a great place to find investors. But before getting to LinkedIn, let me actually tell you this. You need to understand the investing community, right? The investing community, right? If you're a startup or if you are a small business seeking funding, you need to understand different level of investors and what they invest in, okay? In the US and in many parts of the world, right? We usually start with, seed round, right? You have here family, friends, and fools, unfortunately, or fortunately. And then as you go down, right, different investor groups start appearing, from your seed round to your series A, right, to whatever series, to series D maybe, right, you are starting to interact from seed round, family, friends, and foes to angels, right? And then you start seeing VCs, you start seeing private equity groups with growth equity arm until you go into maybe one day IPO, right? So for most of my African friends and folks, we're really going to be here, right? Friends, family, and foes, angels, and VCs, right? This is the space. So your goal is, okay, is to find people that are gonna be in this universe, right? People, VCs, funds, organization, government agencies that are gonna be in that space. And here's another thing you want to avoid doing. Again, avoid doing. If your business is an agri business, okay, you should not, when I say should not, what I actually mean is you must not go find investors who historically invest in education. There is no alignment there. So you really have to look into the people or the organization you desire to approach, right? When you're starting to build your investors list, potential investors list, right? You want to make sure that you are targeting people, organization, right? People, orgs that invest exactly into what you want to do business. Because guess what? If you if you again are trying to launch, let's say, a software business, here, software business or software product rather, and you reach to someone who is in real estate, that's a problem. Like the least you're gonna think is, like, what's wrong with you? Like, what's your problem, right? So you really have to review the people put all the information in an Excel spreadsheet. Excel is available there, easy to organize data, right? Organize data in first name column, last name column, email column, phone number columns, right? Website of the company, and make a note column about why you think this investor is a good candidate for you to pitch to them. And only after doing so that you actually, right, and of course you've made sure you have all these marketing material, right? Marketing material, I can't spell, marketing material ready, right? Material ready, and it's all good, and you start putting together your investors one by one, one by one, and then you're gonna start reaching out to them, right? You're not fishing for information. You're not just trying to see what's gonna come out of it. You're not trying to just see what is out there, but you're focused, you're precise, and that sends an important and a powerful message as well, right? People take you more serious because you did your homework, right? So a typical message could be something like, hi, me let me let me share my screen here again, right? Hi, Mr. or Mrs. X. I am blah blah blah. My name is Paulo. Let's just use myself as an example. And I came across your profile, right? Your profile, and it seems like you have historically invested in this space, right? SpaceX, right? Or in the market X, right? And I wanted to see if we could have a conversation to learn about your background investing, right? Investing in this space. And here's the reason, right, that I want us to talk, because I'm launching a startup, or I have a business in this space, and I'm hoping to see what investors out there are looking, right? So your message is precise, is really targeted, it's directed to the right audience, right? Mr. X, I am Paulo, I'm from Angola. I launched this education business, and I saw, based on your LinkedIn profile or your website or whatever, that you have historically invested in this space, and I wanted to see if we could talk, right? And here's why I think this conversation would be beneficial to both of us. If you're open to a brief conversation, I'd appreciate if you can respond to my message. If not, I appreciate your time. Simple, straight to the point. It's probably gonna be less than 200 words. That's too many, maybe. It's not gonna be more than 150 words. It's not gonna take someone more than a minute or a minute and a half to read that, right? So that's really what your target, your focus should be, right? So we're getting into 30 minutes here. I think it's a good place to stop now. After saying all that I said, right, here's what I want your takeaway to be. If you are in the process of raising capital, I want you to go back into your marketing material, your deck, your business plan, and look it one more time, right? If you were an investor, would have you been persuaded by the business plan to want to learn more about the business you want to present to people, right? That's an easy question. And I think it's gonna help you think a lot, right? A lot. And it's gonna help you maybe revamp, redesign your material, and start, making notes. Take note about what you want to do, who you want to target, excuse me, who you want to focus, right? So things like that. And if you need